I'm outside in a damn Jeep, right outside, TT, two-turn baby girl, you know me.
Top books, top reads of 2023, okay? So again, like I told you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my manga series, or just books that I genuinely don't have right here. But I think the first one I have is actually a manga series. Yeah, so first one, top reads of 2023 was none other than I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. I'll put a picture right over here. I don't have the book. Again, that's the book I was talking to you guys about in the beginning. I feel like it's in one of my bags in my closet. I don't know why. It should have been on my shelf. I don't know where it went. I gotta find it. Top read 2023, 10 out of 10 recommend. It was so good. It was so good. I highly recommend you guys to read that book. If you're trying to get into manga, I would highly recommend that be your first book to hop into, because baby, the plot twist at the end was just ridiculous, and your girl kind of got a little teary-eyed while reading the book because it was just that good, and quite sad if I say so myself. The title of it would definitely get you side-eyeing it, like you want to eat somebody's pancreas, but when you read it, you'll understand, and I highly recommend it. So good, so tear-jerking, and I believe it is also a movie. I haven't watched it yet. I should probably watch it, but I feel like if your girl got teary-eyed reading it, just imagine how I'll be watching the actual film. But yeah, coming in at number 1, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. And again, I need to stop saying number 1 because they're not really in order. It's just me saying the first thing, you know, whatever. Alrighty, so the next one that I have is going to be Spy Family. Y'all know I love Spy Family. I ain't going to talk too much about Spy Family because, again, I've talked to you guys about this, I want to say, in my last 2 monthly wrap-ups, because I've read so much of Spy Family. And also, just to give you guys a heads up, if I have like manga series up here, like that have like other volumes and stuff in it, I just have the first volume to show you guys because, I mean, it's the first volume. I'm not going to have like the entire actual series that I have, but as you guys know, I've read all the way up to like I think volume 7, and I have all of the volumes that have been released, so 1 through 10. But again, Spy Family, 10 out of 10 recommend. Anya, Lloyd, you're my babies. I cherish them so much. Y'all don't understand. I love them so much. So I would highly also recommend hopping into Spy Family if you're like new to manga. But y'all don't understand. I love it so much. Okay, the next one that I have, again, one that I have constantly talked to you guys about multiple times, especially in my previous reading wrap-ups, going to be none other than Cheeky Brat. Are you shocked? You shouldn't be, okay? Because again, if you're not new to the channel, you already know I love me some Cheeky Brat. It's set in like high school type romance, but she's older, he's younger, about a year, and like it's giving cat and mouse chase, really, in a high school setting. Also, you got sports in it, basketball, so you got all those elements in that as well. It's really good. I have all the volumes that have been released. Some new releases are coming out next year. I already talked to you guys that on my 2024 release anticipation video. So yeah, Cheeky Brat, so cute. I think it's a little bit more advanced as far as like the art goes to like really understand it. So I would definitely say read other series like I Want to Eat Your Pancreas and Spy Family to then dive into something like this, so you can kind of still, you know, have that at least some other manga volume series under your belt before you hop into this, just to like kind of understand the pacing and how to read the panels and stuff like that. So, but yeah. My next one, this one is a little erotic. This one is for the grown folks, okay? It's gonna be Fire in His Fingertips. And you know what? I'm kind of mad at myself because the gag is there is going to be a new release come 2024, but I forgot to include it in that video, in my 2024 anticipation video. But best believe, what, volume 5 of this is coming out next year. I'm getting it. It's erotic, okay? It's fronts to lovers, okay? I think that's the only type of way when it comes to erotic manga that it makes sense. Like, they have to know each other before then. You get what I'm saying? Because all the other ones, it's just kind of like fast paced, and then it's kind of like y'all just met 2 minutes ago. But this one, it just hits right because they're friends. They've been friends since they were kids, childhood best friends growing up, and then they develop something, as she always presumed him as to be a player and that he will never settle down. He's also a firefighter, and we realize kind of like why he never really does. It's because really he always had feelings with his best friend. Period. Okay, but she always deemed him as like a playboy and stuff, but you see that like the turn of events that happen because, you know, they start to develop a relationship and stuff, and it's just, you kind of see all that playboy stuff go out the window when it comes to her. So I'm just like, period. Okay, and let me tell you, they show it. Yep, I'm looking at something now. Oh, they show you. They show you everything, okay? Everything. Just to give you guys a heads up. It is a parental advisory sticker on the back of this. If you ain't grown, don't get it. But if you grown, I feel like I have a predominantly grown audience. Go ahead. This one I actually recently just got. I did it in an unboxing on one of my box sets, and I've been reading like a couple of the volumes like very fast and like loving every single one of them. I'm only on like volume 4 of it. I think it's like 21 volumes in the series, but it's gonna be Assassination Classroom. I love this series actually. Again, when I hop back into reading my manga, I'm gonna be picking up volume 4. I love this. It's actually quite amazing. It's about this octopus who is pretty much trying to destroy the whole world, but like I guess the organization that's supposed to, like, I guess you would consider it like the FBI or whatever the case may be in the real world, is trying to take him out, but they can't kill him because he's too fast, he's too smart, he's too strategic for them to like take him out. So he's like, I won't take out the planet or the world, or Earth I should say, if you allow me to be a teacher for a class at a school that's deemed as like class 3E, which is really deemed as like a what would you say? I don't want to say, they just look at the class as like them being less than. Like we learn from previous like future volumes like volume 3 and 4 and volume 2 and 3, because I've read volume 1, 2 and 3. We learned that the principal pretty much set up the school to be this way where they deem the students in 3E to be less than everyone else, and they use that class to like put fear in the other students that like if you get put in this class, you're pretty much shunned from everyone else in the school. Like they're gonna look at you as less than, and that you're dumb and treat you like shit, which is pretty much what they do to the class 3E. And the teacher, the octopus, wants to be teacher for that class, and he's allowing them also to like try to assassinate him. So it's literally this classroom full of kids. They pretty much kind of like baby kids really in the classroom are trying to kill him for I want to say $1 billion, $100 million, yeah, $100 million. They gotta try to kill him. He allows them to do it, as well as him teaching them stuff like that. And I know it sounds crazy, and I'm not really good at explaining it, but it actually is really a heartwarming story. And I believe when I hop into volume 4, it's supposed to be more explanation as to like who he is and why he wanted to even be a teacher for this class, and like his purpose and stuff like that. And as you continue reading on, I have a feeling it has something to do with like maybe when he, like, I don't think he was always an octopus, low-key. Plot twist, I think he genuinely may have gotten turned into one, and maybe he was an actual kid who was also in 3E when he was a kid, who was a part of the school, and maybe he's trying to like build like an actual learning experience for the kids of 3E. Because if the way they have it set up is like they're like in a little cabin on a hill very far from the school. Like they really distance those kids from everybody else in the school. So part of me is thinking like, because the more I keep reading, like from volume 2 and volume 3, they keep adding on people in the book to quote unquote try to assassinate him, but they end up becoming like some form of teacher to the class 3E, also still being close to the octopus to try to assassinate him, but at the same time still being a teacher to the 3E students. Because again, they had, I don't even think, did they have a I don't know. When we first start off with first volume, they start off with pretty much him being the teacher. So I don't know if they even had a teacher previously, but he's the teacher, and he was the only teacher. And like again, volume 2, volume 3 brought in more people, tried to assassinate him, brought in students trying to assassinate him, and it sounds crazy, it really does, but it's very heartwarming, it's very sweet. I really enjoyed. I highly recommend getting the box set. It's gonna probably be cheaper, and then you get a little poster too. It's really cute. I highly recommend this because it's so good. It's really heartwarming. I think I am gonna cry in the end because it's like you're already seeing this bond between him and the students, even though they're trying to kill him. Still, this type of bond between the two of them, and it's so cute. It's really cute. I don't care. So again, Assassination Classroom is a good read. It's a good read. I highly recommend, and I believe it's also an anime as well. Alrighty, so next, and I want to say last manga volume is gonna be none other than Blue Flag, and I only picked up volume 8 because the way my shelf is set up, volume 1 is already at the bottom, and I ain't got time, so I just got volume 8. Blue Flag, 10 out of 10 recommend, especially because out of all the series that I showed you guys as my top reads of 2023, this one is the only one that's completed. So it's volumes 1 through 8, then you're finished, and I highly recommend it. It's also set in a school setting. These 3 friends, it was her and him. No, they have been friends since they were like kids. Then they get into like, but they kind of grew distant by the time they got into high school. Then you have her who had a crush on him, but she knew that they were friends at one point, so she tries to ask him how to get his attention, and pretty much that's how it all just starts. It gives me My Love Mix-Up, but instead of it being 2 guys, it's a girl and a guy, but then it also kind of leads to 2 guys. Man, I don't want to spoil it, but at the same time, it's just like, it's really good. It's really good. Highly recommend Blue Flag. Friendship, sexuality, school setting, 10 out of 10 recommend. Loved it. I read this very quickly. I read this very quickly, okay? Again, it's only 8 volumes in the series, but I binge read it, and I read this earlier in the year. But baby, stays on my mind rent free. 10 out of 10 recommend Blue Flag. It's so good, and the panels are very good. The storyline is very good. The art is amazing, and I just highly recommend you guys checking out this series, because Futaba, is that her name? I forgot. Yes, Futaba, my queen. I love her so much. She is so cute in the way that the author draws her up in this series, especially when she has her big old eyes and stuff. She's so cute. I cannot stand it, but definitely check out Blue Flag, okay? Now, coming in the next one, it's you guys probably already saw it from the side, but it's just a graphic novel, and it's going to be none other than Heartstopper Volume 1. Again, I only have Volume 1 because I have the other ones, but I just don't feel like picking them all up. But number 1, Heartstopper. Read all 1 through 4, excuse me, because the 5th volume did get released, but I have yet to purchase it. I'm going to actually get that, I am. But volumes 1 through 4, 10 out of 10 recommend. Love the story. Again, it's in a school setting. Sexuality is the discussion and stuff, and friendship as well. It's very sweet, very cute. The artwork is very beautiful, and I love the story and the plot. Also, it has topics of such like eating disorder and stuff like that. I believe you get that like more in like volume 4 of this, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's just really cute and sweet, and I definitely highly recommend you guys checking this out. I know it is also a series. I think it's still on Netflix. I'm not sure. I have never read it. Never watched it, but yeah, Heartstopper, so good. And volume 5 did come out. I need to actually purchase it and check it out and read it, but I might do that like right now as I'm saying that. But yes, So that's all finished with like my manga slash graphic novels. That's all finished. So the next one that I have, which I was very like debating on if I wanted to include this in my top reads of 2023. And I was debating if I was going to include this for the simple fact that it is kind of controversial. It's controversial in a way where, like, if you read it, you understand. Now, mind you, the only reason I read this is because of I was still taking classes, and I had to read it from one of my classes. And I had to read it from one of my child sociology classes or something like that. And so, first of all, I was excited that it was fiction, because usually when you're reading books, they don't give you fiction. They give you nonfiction. I don't like nonfiction. So when this being my first fiction book, like pretty much ever in my entire like college career, I was like, okay, bet. What you got for me? And I enjoyed it. I cried. I was angry. I loved it, even though it can be seen as controversial. So I will give you guys a trigger warning. Give you guys a little warning if you decide to pick up this book. Listen, I'm just letting you know I had to read it for an actual college course, okay? I didn't go out of my way to find it, but I read it and I enjoyed it, and I have to include it in my top read. I didn't give it 5 stars. I felt like I couldn't give it 5 stars because of what the topic was like talking about, but at the same time, oh, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. But all the ugly and wonderful things, I forgot what the author's name is, but I'll have a picture up of it. I enjoyed myself thoroughly reading this book. Again, I had to read it for a college course, and yeah, I just give you guys a heads up. It's trigger warning as fuck. Like, it is. This is the age gap. And when I mean age gap, I mean age gap. Like, homeboy had to do some time. Clink, clink, they wouldn't let him out. Time, age gap. You get what I'm saying? You feel, honestly, I might read that shit again. I ain't gonna care. I got that on my Kindle. I actually have that on my Kindle. That's why I read. That's why I don't have the actual physical copy. But honestly, it was. Whew. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there for you. If you want to check it out, check it out. Just know, clink, clink, they wouldn't let him out. Age gap. That's how I'm gonna leave it. That's how I'm gonna leave it. That's how I'm gonna leave it. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Next book. The next book I have on this list of my top 2023 reads, okay? It's coming in as Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Okay, as you guys know, I read this earlier in the year. I probably read this in January. And if you guys saw that video in January of me doing my January wrap-up, you guys probably would know that it's a completely different style of this book. That's because in January I had the hardback and I had the paperback. Actually, I gave my hardback version to my aunt to read that she probably has yet to finish, and I have yet to get my book back. So I ended up buying this because I was like in a mood of wanting to reread it, even though I didn't even reread it. But I don't mind because, again, I love this book so much. Your girl was crying snot bubbles, crying, throwing up, reading this book, okay? So I don't mind having 2 versions of the book. Love this book so much. It's about tennis, okay? I don't understand why people were confused as to why it was so much tennis talked about in this book pertaining about tennis. Like, I don't get it. It's even said in the synopsis. I'll read a little bit for you guys. It says, Carrie Soto is fierce, and her determination to win at any cost has not made her popular. But by the time she retires from tennis, she is the best player in the world has ever seen. She has shattered every record and claimed 20 Grand Slam titles. And if you ask Carrie, she is entitled to every one. She sacrificed nearly everything to be the best with her father Javier as her coach. A former champion himself, Javier has trained her since the age of 2. I'm just gonna read that part because it's quite a bit of it. But pretty much it's about her getting out of retirement because she got to defend her title of being like the best tennis player ever by this girl who's a little younger than her, and obviously she's older by the time she's trying to defend her title. So, you know, the bones ain't boning like they used to. So she's gotta, you know, get back in fit, you know, and then she realized that people actually kind of like did not like her when she was a tennis player. But she's like, I don't give a fuck, okay? I'm getting my title back. And so, you know, you got her winning some, losing some, having to build up back this relationship with her father, who was Javier, like I read in the synopsis, who was also a tennis player and was her coach when she was younger, is now going to be her coach again when she's trying to get out of retirement to defend her title. And so you just have this whole story of her, you know, tennis and pretty much how it is harder for, like, pretty much seeing like the new heads push out the old heads. And we see that in everything, whether it's music, sports, acting, you know, and how it can like become, you know, very competitive with the old heads, and you know, just that whole situation like that. So I really enjoyed it. I've talked about this in my top reads when I was reading like top bad reviews of my favorite books. I did a video of like that, and this was one of the books I read like low ratings for. But yeah, I love Carrie Soto is back. 10 out of 10 recommend. The next book coming in as one of my top reads of 2023 is going to be none other than Scarred by Emily McIntyre. Bitch. The sex scenes in this is ridiculous. Sis was not playing. Emily McIntyre, ma'am, you weren't playing. Okay, let me just say that much. Now, I read this book and I read Hooked. And I ended up starting, but I didn't finish her third book. What was it called? Was it Wretched? Was that it? I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. I think because I was just so busy trying to find a book that I wanted to read at that moment. And so I kind of DNF'd it. Even though it was pretty good. I needed to hop back into it. But Scarred so far is my favorite book out of her like little Never After series and stuff. This is like, she does pretty much like retelling of stories where like the bad guy or the villain gets the girl. So Hook was about Captain Hook. Scarred is about what's his name? Well, she calls him Tristan, but this is pretty much like The Lion King. So the bad guy in Lion King, don't come for me, I've never watched The Lion King. I've never watched The Lion King. I've only ever seen like retellings of The Lion King, but I've never watched the actual physical Lion King. I've always seen clips of it, but I've never watched the actual movie. So I don't really know their names like that. Don't come for me. I know. But anyways, I know of it. Let me just say that much. I know of The Lion King. So this is a retelling of The Lion King in that sense, and I love it. I've learned that like the royal setting of books, that's what I love the most. I love it. It's something about it. It's something about the royal settings, and it got smut in it. 10 out of 10 recommend. 10 out of 10. What was that other book that I love? Sins of the Father by Smoggy, which is a reverse harem, but that's also like a royal setting. 10 out of 10 recommend. I love me a royal setting book, okay? And it got smut, and the plot just hits. When it hit like that, it just hit, baby. And this hit. I was binge reading. I switched from reading the physical copy, then I went to reading it on Kindle, because I believe all the books are on Kindle Unlimited. If you don't want to get the physical books, you just want to try them out. But baby, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Period. Alrighty, the next book, top read of 2023. We're going to be none other than The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Y'all already know this, okay? I talked about this in one of my reading wrap-ups. I love this. I love this so much. And the gag is that the second book to the series is coming out in 2024. Your girl already pre-ordered it. September something. Second book somewhere is in the title of the book. I forgot the whole title. But anyway, it's the second book to this, and I'm getting it. I cannot wait. I love this. Had your girl teary-eyed. 10 out of 10 recommend. I know this is kind of controversial too, but I ain't gonna cap. I really don't know why. I still have yet to this day looked up what was the beef with this book, but all I know is I loved it and I cried and I rated it 1,000 stars. Highly recommend. Alright, now this one is a little interesting because the gag is when it came to me reading this, I did a reading vlog of this, and I didn't even rate this 5 stars in that reading wrap up. But it's a book that I cannot get out of my head. Like, this genuinely has a special place in my heart to the point that I might have to lie to y'all and say this is a 5. It's a 5-star read, even though I think I rated it 4.75. And that's none other than Ace of Spades. I cannot wait to the next book. It's not of this, like, continuation of this series, but it is another book by this author. And I told you guys in my 2024 anticipation video, she's coming out with another book that's coming out 2024, where it's kind of still set in the academic world, like school, and it's still like a mystery thriller. I forgot the name, but I might put the picture up. Again, you guys can just go ahead and check out my 2024 anticipation video, and you will see that book in there. She's coming out with another one, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it because, baby, Ace of Spades have really left a place in my heart. Okay, I don't understand. I cannot get this book out of my head. I just can't. I simply cannot do it. It's so good. It was so intriguing. The plot twist, which I kind of called it, but also it was just, it was so good. It was so good. I just feel like there were little key points that I just didn't like that were not, you know, finished out. Again, like, the reason why I gave it a 4.75, because I felt like it was certain things in the book that were not solved, as far as like what happened to the boy he was messing with at the beginning, or what happened to Belle, who she was messing with, you feel me? Like, just stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was never like solved in that sense, as to like, you know, it was still things that needed to be answered that I didn't feel like was answered. And then the, you know how like what's it called? I'm trying to see, what do they call it? The epilogue. I totally forgot it, y'all. The epilogue was such a time jump. This was like 16 years later after the shit that went on in Ace of Spades. 16 years? That was a big ass time jump. Usually, you know, I mean, I like a epilogue that's like dead in the middle. I don't like an epilogue that's like a couple days later. But I damn sure don't like it if it's gonna be 16 years later, and I feel like it was such a jump that we didn't even get all the answers to a lot of questions. Like, again, why was his father even in jail? Who the hell was watching his brothers when his mother was working? Because we know it wasn't his ass. Like, you know, shit like that. Like, just some questions that just needed to be answered that weren't answered. But regardless, this shit lives in my brain rent-free. Ace of Spades. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Alrighty. Now, the last book. The last book that was... I know I told you guys I didn't have these in order, but then I kind of sort of did, especially when it came to my favorite books of 2023, because this one is, as of right now, as of December 27, 2023, is still my top read. Probably even one of my top, maybe the top author that I read, because I read quite a bit of her books this year. I read a total of 3 of her books this year. I love this book with all my heart. This book also lives in my brain rent-free. I sometimes randomly just get sad thinking about the situation that goes down in this book, and for certain characters in the book. I love this so much. I highly recommend it. If no other book in this series, well, you know, I think I'm gonna do that at the end. I'm gonna say like the 3 books out of all the books that I read this year that I would highly recommend. But this is definitely one of them, and it's gonna be none other than Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. Yes, I said Jackson and not Jackson. That deserves a round of applause just then, okay? Because y'all know how much I be butchering her last name for some reason. But Monday's Not Coming is coming in as the #1 top read of 2023. I love this book so much. I sometimes feel extremely sad for what happens and what went down to Monday and Claudia. She went through some shit too, let's be honest, okay? I loved it. I loved it. I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. 10 out of freaking 10. The gag is she is coming out with a new book in the new year, but it's supposed to be like what's that Marvel character name? I forgot. It's supposed to be like some type of Marvel book. So I was kind of like, I guess I would have preferred like just a regular degular book, but okay. But either way, bitch, loved it, okay? Crying. I was crying on page 37. I ain't never had a book where I'm in the book 37 pages and I'm blowing snot bubbles crying. Like, that's crazy to be in a book only for that short amount of time and you crying snot bubbles. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's when you know you didn't got me. You got me, okay? Like, usually you gotta get closer, like towards the end and stuff, to be like crying and shit. 37 pages in a 400 something page. But not only that, I read this in 24 hours. This is a 400 page book. I read a 400 page book under 24 hours. I ain't never did no shit like that ever in my life. That's how good of a fast read it was. How good it was. The plot was good. I've never done that. I think Ace of Spades took me like 2 days. 1 day or 2 days. But under 24 hours, 400 something pages. Come on, y'all. I'm not a fast reader like that. So for me to have read that fast, and I, yeah, blowing snot bubbles 37 pages in, completely hooked. The gag is, because it is like a reading curve to understanding like how the story, you know, how the story's going. Even though in the beginning I really wasn't understanding it, like how like it had the before, the after, 2 years before the before, 3 years before the before, and shit like that, and I didn't understand it, I still was gonna rate this 5-star. Still gonna rate it 5-star even though I didn't understand that part. But when I started to sit down and like marinate on like why do they say it like that, like the before, the after, and all that shit like that, when I finally understood it, bitch, just turned into a 5-star to a 10-star. This is actually a 10-star. 10 out of 10 recommend. I love this book so much. I ain't even trying to. I'm just gonna read this little synopsis of it up here at the top. It says, "This is the story of how my best friend disappeared, how nobody noticed she was gone except me, and how nobody cared until they found her 1 year later." That's how I'm gonna leave it at. That's how I'm gonna leave it at. And again, Monday's not coming. 10 out of 10. Now, if I'm gonna give you guys three books you should read. You know what's crazy? I want to say, and you know, I consider myself a romance novel type of girl. A lot of my top reads are not romance. Like, they have a little romance in them, but they're not just completely all romance. If I had to choose 3 books out of all the books that I finished in 2023, I'm gonna add a 4th one being a manga series. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. So 3 books plus a manga series. If I had to choose, one was going to be obviously Monday's Not Coming. Highly recommend. Second book, Ace of Spades. But now I'm trying to think. Oh, this is hard. I still got to think. I still have All the Ugly and Wonderful Things as well. That one's just so much trigger warning, and that I don't even know if I include that because a lot of people, yeah. Let me continue looking at these. I think I was debating, but I got it. This hurts. I got it. Monday's Not Coming, Ace of Spades, Carrie Soto Is Back. I was debating between this and The House in the Cerulean Sea, but the thing is with me, even though I enjoyed it, I loved it 5 stars, I hated the long chapters. I don't like long chapters, and TJ Klune does long chapters, okay? And then that manga series that I would include is probably Spy Family. It'll be Spy Family. Oh no, Blue Flag, because that's just a real good way to intro to manga, because again the series is finished. It's 1 through 8. Like with Spy Family, even though I still love Spy Family, it's got 1 through 10 and it's still continuing on, like it's still releasing volumes. So yeah, I would say Blue Flag. So if there was any books in this series I would say to hop into, to check out, these 3 books here. These 3 books, and then this one add-on is manga, Blue Flag. So those would be my top. Yeah, that's it, y'all. Those are my most disappointing and my most top favorite books of 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. And also make sure you turn on your notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!